The future is now. Get ready to look ridiculous. Welcome back to the channel, my people. Thanks for sticking around. So today we're gonna take a look at something I have kind of been delaying for a long time. And quite frankly, it's because it scares me. Every time I think about virtual reality, I think of how quick technology increases year after year, and my brain just automatically goes to the Matrix, like we're going to be plugged in anytime soon. And so today we're going to look at the Oculus, the Rift S. And so this came out in May of this year, towards the end of May. Quite a few reviews out there, so I'm really not going to hit on too many of the specifications. I'm going to show you a few kind of snapshots of some of the gameplay just to give you an idea what it's like, and really just kind of give you some of my impressions and maybe a couple of things that I don't like. So that's how this video is going to go. Really to give you kind of a walk around overview of the headset. You have a very comfortable padded headset that adjusts on the top with a Velcro strap, as well as on the back with a dial to dial in the actual, circumference of your head. I have a big old nugget, so I gotta crank that thing out. It's very comfortable. I've had it on for hours at a time, testing it out and playing some games. Headband is very comfortable. The headset itself has five cameras on it. Camera on the top, 2 cameras on the front, and a kind of camera on each side, which is nice. And there's a couple features of this that I actually really like. There's a pass-through mode, and so how this works when you get your Oculus Rift S and you start the setup is you design a virtual fence around your area. So you might be asking yourself, well, I don't have the room to play one of these VR games or this VR setup. I'll say that's not true. I have this in my office, and the area that I have is very limited. Just enough arm space front and back and side to side so that I don't bang into walls. The setup with the Oculus is you draw a virtual outline of your space on the ground using the headset while it's on. The cameras look through the actual headset and kind of almost like an old school IR mode, so you can see your room. You virtually draw a line around your play area, and then it can tell how high you are from the ground. It asks you, from your standing position to get down and touch the ground with one of the controller sensors. So basically you build your parameter around you, and then also your height distance of the height of the headset to the floor. And what that does is builds a virtual fence before you even start any kind of gameplay or anything like that. So that shows you where your gameplay is. There's a little virtual arrow inside your fence that shows you kind of the center of your gameplay area. It kind of helps you, keeps you stay center as you're playing virtually. You're kind of moving around, and so you lose temporal space, and so that's really cool. When you break the plane of your virtual fence, whether with the controllers, you'll see inside the headset that you're starting to break. It turns red and that you're starting to break it and punch through. If you punch through your virtual fence with your headset, it switches to kind of a real view of your room, so you can kind of see where you're at. So if you're playing games and you like to have adult beverages and you want to get out of your virtual reality game and go to your room without taking your headset off, that's how you do it. So there's a little trick, a little tip from the old Gipper. Here's what happened when I put this headset on. And again, from the beginning, I told you I was kind of scared of this. I haven't done this with a game or a system in a long time, but when I put the headset on and I started to walk through the tutorial, the Oculus tutorial, and I'm building 3D printers with cartridges. I'm receiving from this robot. I'm making guns. I'm looking around in my environment and everything is, you know, a world around me. All I could say was out loud, holy and so that's it. The impression was just amazing. Now, what I'll say is, are the graphics perfect? No, I mean, absolutely not. There's a long ways to go. But again, as technology increases, your video processing, your CPU, as well as, you know, RAM increases, it's only going to get better. And it'll be a little scary, I think. So I envision 5-10 years from now, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between something like this virtual reality and the real world. It's really impressive. And again, coming from a general user, I'm not a professional, right? I have a background in IT, but not in gaming, not in, you know, development of games or virtual environments. It's very impressive. And so you also, as you're watching this video, might be asking yourself, okay, well, it's going to be very expensive for me to get into this, right? Virtual reality's kind of been around. We've had the headsets that you can plug in your phone into and kind of get that spatial, you know, reality of virtual reality. So you kind of feel like it. So it's been around for a while now and it's continued to build. Started out expensive and it starts to come down. Well, what I will say is it doesn't take much to get into this. This system is $400. You can buy, and I'll put a picture up if I can find one, or a link in the description of the computer tower that I purchased. And quite frankly, I haven't moved out of gaming consoles for a long time because I don't want to build another computer. You always have to keep up with the technology, new video cards, and it gets expensive, right? So I'm like, I don't want to sink the money into a computer. So I actually bought it out of the box, VR ready, HP Pavilion from Newegg, I believe it was. Less than $700. Comes with a 4 gig video card, which is all you need to run this, as long as it has a display port. And comes with a processor fast enough to run games. And all I did was upgrade the RAM, so I put 32 gigs of RAM in it versus the 16 that it came with. And again, so if you're interested in something like this, you can get into it fairly inexpensively. And the game support is increasing. So Oculus has their own portal with games that you can purchase. You can also use Steam, so your Rift S is compatible with Steam games. They'll tell you which games you can filter on Steam's portal, the games that are available for the Oculus platform or the HTC Vive platform. And it's pretty easy. Honestly, you have to download, you know, make sure your drivers, everything else is in order, and then it's fairly easy. So you saw the headset. You also get these 2 controllers that you hold kind of like this. What you have is articulation virtually of these 3 fingers, your thumbs, your index fingers, and your middle fingers. And the controllers can sense when you're on and off the controller, so some level of haptic touch, right? You still have to use the thumbsticks to move forward, left, right, look around, but for the most part, you can manipulate things with your hands fairly easy with the buttons on these controllers. It's very realistic. So let's walk into one game. I'm a first-person shooter, right? And there's some really cool games out there, but I'm just gonna kind of in this video show you a few games that just to illustrate, I guess, the clarity and performance and what it feels like. So the first game is called Pavlov, and if you've played Counter-Strike, some of the maps in here you're going to see that are almost exact copies of Counter-Strike if you download this game and play it. I'm showing you one that's like a dollhouse and you're like this little, you know, person in there running around with games. But what I really want you to look at is the ability to manipulate a firearm with your 2 hands, the realisticness of that firearm. You're actually taking a magazine out of your side, stripping a magazine from your firearm, taking a magazine out, loading it in almost as if you're doing it in reality, and then you're, you know, charging the handle, racking the slide, you know, putting a round in battery, and it's it's very realistic. Same thing. Grenades, you hold with one hand, pull the pin with this other hand, throw it like as if you were throwing a real grenade or object, and it's going to go as far as you put effort into inertia with your controller to throw it. And controllers have, again, haptic feedback, so something explodes, etc. You feel it in this. It's very realistic, and some people get motion sickness from it, but I haven't. Another game that I'm going to illustrate here right now is Google Earth. So get Google Earth loaded. You can get this through the Oculus portal, and it is freaking immersive. It's amazing. You're looking around at the world in 3 dimensions. You can zoom down to a spot on the Earth. In this instance, we're in Germany. You're looking at some castles. And then you can get down to the street view of wherever you're looking and look at it as if you were in there. So just imagine you can do, tours of the world potentially in virtual reality without ever having to go there. So amazing. Okay, so I don't want this video to run too long. There are plenty of other technical reviews of the Oculus Rift S. What I did want to show you though was a quick overview, some of my initial impressions, again from an end user perspective. Not a professional, I'm getting this, I'm trying it out, I don't know how it works. What are some of the challenges that I ran into when I was getting this set up? Because if you've worked on a computer before, a lot of times you got to get everything to work. So make sure your drivers are all updated on your computer. Make sure your computer supports the minimum requirements for the device, and all those things are out on their website. What I ran into was having an issue with sound from the headset. So it has a microphone built into it, and you get sound actually from the game also, so you can communicate in game. You need to make sure that privacy is enabled on Windows 10 for your camera, as well as your microphone for this to work. And I really ran into a problem after I did that, trying to figure out why the heck my microphone would not work. I could hear, but I couldn't communicate with everyone. Well, let me tell you this trick. You need to make sure that your USB connection for the cable, this is your display port, so it has 2 connections for the headset, is plugged into a USB 3.0 slot. So there's another requirement for your desktop. You need to have a 3.0 slot. You need to have a display adapter port on your video card, and then obviously all the recommended specifications. So once I had that going, I figured it out, but I spent an hour trying to figure out why the heck I did not have the ability to communicate with my microphone. The other thing that I don't like is that I can only articulate these 2 fingers. Now, Steam is coming out with their own virtual reality rig, or whatever the heck you want to call it, system this fall that is called the Index. And so the controllers have a band around your fingers here that go over your hand, basically, so you can let all 5 of your fingers go and still have control of the controller, and you can articulate all 5 fingers. So I'm really interested in that, and again, I think the more technology increases, the more you'll be articulating, many other things. And again, use your imagination. So games are out there that are kind of crazy. They're insane. It's a really cool technology. One other last thing before we wrap up this video that I didn't really care for, that I found bothering me after a while, is this comes with a very kind of thin foam around the face area. I found that kind of got warm, overheated, and kind of dug in a little bit after wearing it for long periods of time. So there are some solutions out there for the original Rift that I don't know if they will fit this or not, but I'll say if they come out with an aftermarket, padded foam for your eyes, that's probably all you need for a comfort level of this, wearing it for long periods of time. So again, wrap up the video. This is actually running a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I wanted to give you a quick overview and just let you know that if you're thinking about VR, now's the time to try it. Get in early, try it out. It's very immersive. It's amazing. Not a lot of stuff impresses me, but the dynamics of it is very impressive, and it's not that expensive to get into at this point. Any comments you have or questions you have, I know I didn't hit on all of them, and I guarantee you you're gonna have questions, and that's cool. I've been answering as many questions as I can, so shoot me some questions down in the comments section. I'll see if I can answer them. Try to give you a fair, review and shake of this device. But overall, I'm impressed with it. Like I said, the F word was the first thing that came out of my mouth. I'm like, man, we're in trouble. Everything's gonna be virtual soon. So appreciate all of you subscribers. We have broke the 1,000 subscriber milestone. I don't even know, again, you guys know if you've watched any of my other videos, I don't really even know what I'm doing. I'm just checking out cool things that I'm interested in, bringing you all along for the ride, and so I really appreciate the subscribers. Stick around. I'll be bringing some more devices and some interesting things that just kind of sometimes blow my mind or sometimes that I'm interested in or whatever the case may be, and bring them to you all out there. I'm going to scratch all my itches. That's what I do, or I try to. Do the same thing. If you want to try something out, do it. Give it a shot. All right, I'll see y'all next time. Thanks again for subscribing. Thanks for sticking around. See you later.